Chairman of this auspicious occasion, respected professors of this university, leadership of Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy, my respected colleague in leadership, Dr. Honorable Ahmed Sharif, MP for Wage Agbawe, and second deputy minority whip, my own mentor, father, brother, and senior former MP for New Jersey South, Dr. Mark Esebeyewa, President of the Leadership of Students, here present, and his executives. Ladies and gentlemen, in this auspicious forum, students, good afternoon. Indeed, it is a distinct honor to be part of today's program. I'm happy to be here and proud to be here. It is my first since I became the minority leader to have been invited to address you on this important subject matter, empowering the next generation for leadership and nation building. Well, let me set off with one advice that as students, I expect you to have printed in your hearts and minds till time shall be no more. We are often compelled to compete for leadership and for success. And through this competition, we fail to acknowledge the talents in one another. I share with you a short story. I got into Parliament in my early 30s. Very ambitious, but perhaps very empty. Lawyer, businessman, but the politics of the National Assembly, I didn't know where to begin from. To speak on the floor was a difficulty for me. Then came a day where we were supposed to debate on the national budget, the budget of 2013. That very day, I was in the constituency. I didn't know the chief whip had scheduled me to speak. Then I got a call from the chief whip, that I needed to be in the Parliament. So I got to Parliament. And here was I didn't know where to start from, because if they say debate, it is not just the usual rhetorics. You are supposed to rely on some facts. Then a gentleman who I met during the orientation approached me, though we had had some few times at the finance committee where both of us were assigned. Little did I know that he had spotted something in me, my uncle. He prepared my notes for me, showed me how to debate, the issues to point out. And that evening was the beginning of Afenyo Markins. And I'm humbled that today, when he heard of this program, he said to me that, "Kwamina, I'll go with you." Please give it up for Dr. Markins. He's a PhD monetary economist. And in my political life, I have not met a gentleman as selfless as him, who believed in the collective success. This man is a professor to many MPs. He will teach you. He wouldn't look for his own success. His joy is the success of his colleagues. And I stand here as his proxy. But for him, I don't think I would have succeeded in Parliament. I share this with you because oftentimes, as young leaders, you think that the fall of your colleague is the beginning of your rise. No, it is not the case. Be able to share when you have to share. And see through the success of somebody. If you spot a talent, harness that talent. And you never know in that would be the beginning of your own rise. So take this as a food for thought. And Doc, as I always say, I forever cherish our relationship. Today, as I said, I'm filled with hope. Hope because in the eyes of all of you here seated, I see Ghana's future. Bright, bold, and determined. Today, at this gathering, is about planting seeds of courage and responsibility in each and every one of you. We are here to launch a youth platform, a young common forum that transcends partisanship, yet remains passionate about Ghana's progress. This platform is a call to action for our generation to step up and shape the nation's destiny. When Ghana gained independence in 1957, the average age of our population was just 19 years. We were an incredibly young nation. Today, more than 57% of Ghanaians are under 25. This is a clarion call. It means the future of Ghana rests in your hands. Decades ago, John F. Kennedy, the then President of the United States, told the youth of America, quote, "The torch has been passed to a new generation," end quote. Here in Ghana, the torch has also been passed. The real question for all of you here is, will you hold this high or will you let it dim? History teaches us that the great nations rose from hardships as a result of the refusal of its young people to surrender. Consider a few examples of how youthful energy and vision have transformed countries. The first that comes to mind is Rwanda. In just 2 decades after a catastrophic ethnic conflict, Rwanda has built one of Africa's most digitally driven economies, powered largely by its tech-savvy youth. Young entrepreneurs there turn a genocide-scared nation into a regional innovation hub, showing what is possible within unity and vision. And in Singapore, which was once dismissed as a small, struggling island with no natural resources, it mobilized its young citizens for discipline, education, and entrepreneurship. Those young men and women, through hard work and integrity, turned Singapore into a first world nation within a generation. Here in Ghana, our own history offers proud examples. Casey Hayford and Kwesi Saki were among early Ghanaian youths who played their role in nation building. In their youth, they laid the groundwork, and we also know that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who led our independence, was in his early 40s. We know J.B. Dankwa, who carried that vision in the 30s and 40s, got his colleagues together to form the UGCC, and he led the charge towards independence. Of course, in later years, we found Jerry Rawlings, a young, ambitious firebrand who wanted a transformation for his nation. We know of J. Kufuor. Professor Busia made him a deputy foreign minister. In his late 20s, he eventually rose to become a deputy minority leader in the 79 Parliament. And in the 4th Republican administration we had, the constitutional reform we had to usher us into the 4th Republic, he became the 2nd president after Jerry Rawlings. So there is every hope that when we invest in the youth, indeed, the country's energies are redefined for a better tomorrow. Indeed, they remind us that the youth are the leaders of today and not tomorrow. Each of these stories, including Ghana's, tells a truth. Young people with vision and courage can ignite national transformation. They took up the task in their time. Now it's your time to carry it forward. A few years ago, I was a student like you, ambitious. In school, I listened to J.H. Mensah in Parliament as the then minority leader. Today, J.H. Mensah is no more. It is my turn to make a difference. Tomorrow will be your turn. Mr. Chairman, colleagues in leadership, students, the question then is, what is leadership? I dare say that leadership is about action and the impact you make. You do not need to be president or CEO to lead. True leadership is choosing honesty when lies are easier, choosing hard work when shortcuts are available, and daring to dream when others settle for mediocrity. To quote Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Of course, in agreeing with Gandhi, I submit that leadership is fundamentally an act of service. If Ghana is to rise, it will not be because of one president, the parliament, or one policy. It will be because young people choose to rise to the occasion. It will be because you decide to serve a cause greater than yourselves. A degree or a job title is admirable, but character and integrity and service are what truly build a nation. Every time you choose accountability and service over corruption, unity over division, and compassion over cynicism, you are exercising leadership that strengthens Ghana's foundation. In our politics today, we often see leaders obsessed with unyielding desire to persecute political opponents. But you can change that. You can insist that leadership should be defined by principles and results. Our nation needs a generation of leaders who measure their impact by what they do. I assure you, no amount of laws or policies can uplift Ghana unless we first have leaders that have character at every level of society. And that starts with each one of you in your lecture halls. At this Young Commons Forum, I shall submit the following 3 action plans for empowering yourselves as leaders and nation builders. First, I strongly recommend to you to embrace innovation and entrepreneurship. Ghana cannot compete in the 21st century by remaining dependent on exporting raw cocoa and gold. The future lies in technology, digital creativity, manufacturing, and adding value to our resources. I urge you to be curious, to learn coding, to start businesses, to explore the arts and sciences. You should seek new solutions for our problems. The government must do its part by supporting innovation initiatives like U-Start for young entrepreneurs and continuing investment in the STEM education. But innovation ultimately thrives from the bold ideas of you, the youth. The world is fast-paced. No one is waiting for you. You need to take the initiative and do better. Second, beyond innovation, you must demand accountability and good governance. Do not allow political leaders to make promises without delivering results. Hold us accountable at every run. 10. If a policy is announced to create jobs or improve education, follow up and insist on transparency. Thomas Sankara reminded us that you cannot carry out fundamental changes without a certain amount of, quote, madness. That madness means non-conformity, the courage to question old ways and demand new standards. You should attend community meetings, use social media responsibly to amplify issues, and vote with both your conscience and your critical thinking. We need young Ghanaians to push all leaders to to be honest stewards of the nation's trust. And third, alongside innovation and accountability, there must be a strong sense of community. In pursuing personal success, remember to support your peers, as I earlier mentioned. Mentor those younger ones that you know need help. Volunteer in the causes that strengthen your community. A prestigious degree or well-paying job is commendable, but legacy or positive impact is far greater. Accept national service postings into rural communities and embrace them wholeheartedly. See it as your opportunity to touch lives, to share knowledge, and to support those at the lowest ebb of fortune's wheel. Measure success, but by the impact you make in your own community. Whether it's launching a neighborhood cleanup, or teaching kids to read, or innovating solutions for local farmers, find ways to serve. By building strong communities, you fortify the very fabric of our nation. As young leaders, and even as you climb the ladder of success, you would be back and help others if you begin now. This ethos of mutual support and unity is what will keep the touch of nation building burning brightly through our generation and beyond. And let me share with you a personal example. When the time came for me to run for parliament, two things worked for me. At the party level, my stepfather's relationship with people. So wherever I went to, they mentioned my stepfather's name and said, if this man has brought you up, they will believe that when you get there, you remember us, because your stepdad is very selfless. The second thing was that the youth remembered me for an NGO I set up to support them way before I got into partisan politics. People don't forget the good things we do. So remember to be of service in your community, in your little way. In all these efforts, know that you are not alone. There are many patriotic leaders and elders who will support you, like I got the support from my colleague Dr. Sibiya. Indeed, our very own political tradition, the tradition of the NPP, where I find myself, is rooted in empowering individuals and communities to prosper through their own efforts and freedoms. The party believes in freedom, liberty, and the rule of law. We believe in unleashing the genius of the Ghanaian, not suppressing it. So push boundaries, hold us accountable, and build bonds with one another. That is how you claim ownership of Ghana's story. I repeat, build bonds with one another. This is how you claim ownership of Ghana's story. It is not your individual efforts. The time to build bonds and navigate your way for your future is now. You alone cannot make it. Don't let anyone deceive you. My dear students, I shall now address the political dimension openly of my submission. Every political party speaks of empowering youth, but action speaks louder than words. I want to remind you that the policies we implement today will decide whether your generation succeeds or struggles. It is therefore important to consider the track record and vision of your political leaders. For the purposes of today's submission, I shall rely on the last 8 years when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo led the NPP government into undertaking certain bold initiatives centered on youth development in spite of the challenges it faced. Allow me to cite few examples. 1. Educational transformation. Free SHS. When free SHS was introduced in 2017, many doubted its feasibility. But today, the policy has enabled over 3.1 million Ghanaian students to attend secondary education with free tuition, who otherwise might have stopped at the junior high level. And there are several examples. Free SHS has become a game changer, one of the most unifying social interventions in our recent history. giving children from poor and rich homes alike a shot at education. This investment, though costly, is an investment in you, the next generation of Ghanaian leaders and professionals. We did it because we in the NPP believe no Ghanaian should be denied education due to financial hardship. Contrast this with earlier periods when tens of thousands of qualified students were left out yearly because of school fees. The difference is night and day. Education is a great equalizer, and we chose to act. Jobs and industrialization. Under the 1D1F, the Akufo-Addo government recognized that to solve youth unemployment, we needed jobs closer to where people live and create opportunity for the private sector. There are many youths who carry their CVs to their political leaders in search for jobs in the public sector. The public sector alone cannot take all of you. There was therefore the need to create a space at the private sector level. And the only way was to introduce incentives, which was captioned as 1D1F. Indeed, this allowed for factories to be established across our country, that by mid-2024, 321 factories had been supported in 142 districts, creating about 170,000 jobs for Ghanaians, many of them young people. These were real jobs that were created in manufacturing, in agro, and in our agro business. Yet today, that hope is no more. Unfortunately, today's government has cancelled the 1D1F program, and it is replacing with the untested 24-hour economy. I am, however, optimistic that with time, the government will be able to realize its vision under this 24-hour economy to create jobs for the people. We await them. However, I believe that the overseen mass dismissals in the public sector has also created a problem for our country. Like I said, we do not need to come into office to create problems merely because the government we inherited has done something. Thousands of young people who were employed have been sent home because of partisan considerations. We don't need this as a people. At a time when youth unemployment is already a crisis, government should be creating jobs and expanding opportunities. Instead, it is shrinking the space for young people. We in the NPP believe that good policies must be strengthened instead of being abandoned. Whether it is industrialization through 1D1F or public sector placement, the goal should be continuity and expansion. It's the reason why I say I am optimistic in respect of the 24-hour economy policy. I must embrace it, because if it works, it will work for the youth of Ghana. The fact that I am in opposition does not mean I should poo-poo it. I have seen the policy document. I pray the government will be able to roll it out for the benefit of the private sector so that more jobs will be created. Again, under Akufo-Addo's NPP government, entrepreneurship and digital innovation was advanced. Knowing that not every young person can or should wait for a government job, the Akufo-Addo administration launched initiatives like the Youth Start, providing startup capital and training to youth-led businesses, aiming to create 1 million jobs. The government invested in digital infrastructure, from extending broadband to rolling out mobile money interoperability, because the government envisioned a Ghana where young app developer in Tamale can reach the world, or a student in Ho can take an online course in data science. These efforts lay the groundwork for a modern economy where your ideas can flourish. I encourage the current government to fuse this into the 24-hour economy and build on these foundations rather than dismantle them. Under road infrastructure, the record have it that government rolled out one of the most ambitious road development programs in our history, rightly called the Year of Roads. It's on record that the Akufo-Addo government constructed no less than 13,000 kilometers of highways, interchanges, and feeder roads, and all these were constructed and rehabilitated across the country as of December 2024. These roads opened market for farmers, made it easier for young entrepreneurs to move goods, and reduce the travel time for students and workers alike. For the youth, road meant access to opportunity. I am therefore happy that this government has introduced this big push idea where major roads are going to be tackled. If this is done, it will further open our economy and make Ghana a better place. Again, it is my hope that government is able to roll this out for the good of our country. Then another important thing that the Akufo-Addo administration introduced, which I want to emphasize, is the landing beach and the fish port project for our fisher folks. Of course, my own constituency, Winneba, benefited from it. The Winneba city, as you know, is a coastal city. And for many years, our fisher folks were crying for landing beach. Under Akufo-Addo administration, we benefited. And that to support coastal and fishing communities, the Akufo-Addo government undertook 12 landing beach projects and 2 fishing ports to modernize fishing infrastructure in Azim, Disto, Mori, Mumford, Winneba, Almina, Senyabriko, Gomwafete, Teshi, Keta, Osu, Ekumfi, Infantiman, and Jamestown. These interventions gave young fisher folks better access to storage, processing, and marketing facilities. By improving the fishing value chain, thousands of young men and women along our coasts were able to earn a better livelihood, transforming fishing from mere subsistence into a viable business. And it is my hope that all those projects, the few that are left to be completed, get completed by this government. Again, under the Planting for Food and Jobs program, agriculture became the backbone under the Akufo-Addo administration, since it was a key for our economy to invest in agriculture. Under PFJ 1 and 2, the Akufo-Addo government made it possible for thousands of young people to access subsidized fertilizers, improved seeds, and extension services. This policy created opportunities for young farmers to see agriculture and agribusiness as profitable ventures. PFG empowered a generation of youth to take pride in feeding their nation while creating jobs in the process. And finally, and not the least, energy and electrification. No economy can grow without a reliable energy. That is why the Akufo-Addo government invested heavily in expanding electricity access and stabilizing the power supply. Under Nanado's government, rural electrification project brought light to communities that had been in darkness for decades, enabling young people in those areas to stay there at night, power their businesses, and connect the wider economy. Energy reforms also provided a more reliable environment for industry, technology, and small businesses, creating a platform for youth innovation to flourish. With stable power, young people in Accra, Tamale, Kumasi, and beyond could dream bigger and do more. But again, in spite of all these successes, I would want to submit that we as a people must rise up to our responsibility. It is a fact that many social intervention programs that were introduced by successive governments to create economic empowerment got abused. Many of the beneficiaries abused them. Without looking above me for example, I would want to use my own example in the future. I know that under the Akufo administration, outbound motors were distributed to fisher folks to pay through cooperative. As far as I know, in my own constituency then, Many people did not pay. Yet, it was a cost to the state. I know that under Poverty Alleviation Fund, when Rawlings introduced this Poverty Alleviation Fund, where small-scale businesses were accessing loans, many people benefited and did not pay. I remember Honorable Gladys Asma, the then Minister for Gender and Women Affairs. She introduced a policy to support women. Many people benefited and did not pay. Maslov was introduced by Kufuor. It was continued by Professor Mills, continued by President Mahama in his first administration. NPP came and continued the Maslov. Government invested heavily in Maslov. The aim was to empower our people economically. But perhaps because many people feel that it is my part, I voted for this government. The person will take the aboboya, take the taxi, take the loan, and the next thing is that I won't pay. So we keep saving the nation. I believe that the time has come. Much as we demand accountability from our leaders, we, the citizens, must also be accountable. If we fail our nation, we'll be failing ourselves. And therefore, this day, I call on you, the youth, that any opportunity that will come your way, make good use of it. And remember that there is somebody waiting out there for such opportunity, that if you abuse yours, you deny that person the opportunity. Politics aside, ladies and gentlemen, empowering the next generation should be by a bipartisan cause. Ultimately, whatever your political leanings, you must remember that good policies matter. Stay informed and engaged, because your future is shaped by the decisions that you yourself make today. Now to conclude, I charge you with a very simple but urgent message. Dream big, stand tall, and act now. Ghana is too rich in talent and resources for us to entertain mediocrity. I repeat, our country, Ghana, is too rich in talent and resources for us as a people to entertain mediocrity. Each one of you in this room must refuse to crawl when you have the capacity to do something great for yourself and our country. As we dream together, let us also confront the dangers that threaten our future. None is more urgent than the menace of illegal mining, otherwise known as galamsey. This destructive practice is stealing your future. It is robbing farmers of fertile soil, poisoning the water of our children, and destroying the environment you and I must inherit. If we allow galamsey to continue unchecked, then we are complicit in selling tomorrow for today's greed. I therefore challenge you, the youth, to be at the forefront of this fight, to speak up, protect our rivers, and to insist on sustainable ways of harnessing Ghana's natural resources. Enough of the political rhetoric and blame game. My earliest memory of this galamsey is when Honorable Sektekwe appeared before the Finance Committee in 2015. At the time, the Cocoa Board was under the Ministry of Finance, and he came to address us, the Finance Committee, on why cocoa production was going down. And he shared with us the unfortunate story of galamsey. When President Akufo-Addo came into office, he even publicly declared that he was putting his presidency on the line. When our friends were in opposition, they were very loud on their desire to fight galamsey. I think enough of the rhetorics. The situation is real. In my own constituency, we cannot get safe water to drink because of what I'm saying. And I know many people who are going through difficult times because of this. Let us fight this together, else there will be no Ghana for us. Let me leave you with these inspiring words of Nelson Mandela. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. Indeed, it falls upon your generation to be great. We do not choose the times we are born into, but we do choose how to respond. And this is your time to respond with greatness. Ghana stands at the threshold of a new era. With a youthful population, abundant natural resources, and a vibrant democracy, we have everything it takes to build the country we dream of. What is required now is a will to make it happen. Let us resolve that we will rise to the occasion. Let us lift the touch high and carry it forward together. In doing so, we honor those who came before us and fulfill our duty to those who will come after us. Thank you very much.